stories and see the pictures. So let's go ahead and get started. So there's really only ever two things, no matter how complicated we want to make this business be sometimes, because it is new for most of us. It does put us out of our comfort zone. It requires us to maybe share something that we're not even fully confident of ourselves yet, whether that be a product we have not tried yet, or maybe a business we haven't made money in yet. Everybody goes through it. I've always said it's the start that stops most people in our industry. It's not the actual work. It's just fear. It's like people just, they join, they're all excited. They then get asked a couple of questions they can't answer. Maybe they get a negative comment or two. They don't know how to rebuttal it. And all of a sudden they just freeze. It's the start that stops most people. So I always tell people to keep it this simple. You, along with everybody in the world, pretty much want to feel better, have more energy, lose weight, sleep better, better hormones. You just want to feel better all the time. I think you would be hard pressed to run into anybody that says, okay, I'm just perfect on the health side. I need nothing. I sleep perfectly. I have the perfect weight. I have the flattest stomach. I have no hormonal issues. I'm always happy. Besides Susan Frank, Susan's one of the few. But that's all we're looking for on the product side. And it really begins a lot of times with ourselves. And, my wife always shares about setting your why, but we do that a lot financially. But I think it's the same thing with our health journey too. Sometimes we have to hit a really big brick wall to do something, because the foods and the lifestyle that create all the problems are very addictive. It's addictive sometimes for some people to be lazy and just come home and watch TV all night and become couch potatoes. It's very addicting eating sugar, especially liquid sugar of any kind, Coca-Cola's, Gatorade. They are a train wreck in our bodies. They cause so many problems. They shorten life. High blood sugar makes you age about 10 times faster than you should be aging. It's equally as bad as smoking. If you've ever been around somebody that smoked for 30 or 40 years, you can generally see it in their skin, hear it in their voice. Sugar is the same way. It's eating you out from the inside outside, eating you from the inside out all the time. So we're just looking for people that want a lifestyle change. And if you look out there at statistics, this is an older slide from 2013. It just happened to be on this particular PowerPoint. But in 2013, I can guarantee you it's higher now. But in 2013, 2 out of 3 people on not Partner Co's list, but on the metabolic list the doctor looks at and tells you if you're overweight or not. 2 out of 3 people are overweight in this country. They're walking around. 70% of the country is now have what's called metabolic syndrome. That means they're not what's called fat adapted. They don't switch energy systems very easily from their burning their sugar in their blood, which is glucose or glycogen in their liver, over to the fat. So, a lot of people can eat what they think is a really good diet, really limit calories, and never burn fat. They don't ever really lose weight. And they ask, why am I not losing weight? The answer is because you're still getting some form of sugar in your body, just enough to keep you what's called fat unadapted metabolic syndrome. It's very unhealthy. It is the leading cause of death in our country. If you don't believe me, go research it. And the reason it's the leading cause of death is because elevated blood sugar, which is metabolic syndrome, is the beginning of that, long before it becomes prediabetes or diabetes. Elevated blood sugar causes all-cause mortality to increase. Some doctors say tenfold. Some doctors say 20, some say 30 folds, meaning you are 10 times more likely to have a cardiovascular event of some kind if you've had elevated blood sugar. And I do my own polling all the time. When I bump into people that have themselves or their family member that's had a stent, some type of cardiac event, an aneurysm, something along those lines, I always ask if they have diabetes, prediabetes, blood sugar issues, and it's like 9.5 in every 10 I ask that out here in the public that do have it. So it's just so important to get that under control. So going back to your, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and it's not so much, we have not so much a weight loss epidemic, it's more of a lifestyle epidemic out there. And it's because we're so confused. I mean, we've been told, we've had diets thrown at us and weight loss thrown at us our whole life. And what used to work doesn't necessarily work for us now, right? And so we need to almost deprogram and reprogram the way we start living now and start having healthy lifestyle and learning that lifestyle and forget everything we've learned in the past.
Yeah. And we're going to go over the products, a number of products that do different things in the body toward the end of this training. But just know that the approved food list, we're on the product that most all of us start with, and that is the Body Balancing Drops. That approved food list is what every person on planet Earth should be eating, because it is a low glycemic food index that does not spike blood sugar. Now, if you're a vegan and don't want to eat meat, so be it. Don't eat meat. But that does not give you the ability to go eat potato chips and cookies. There is a lot of very unhealthy vegans in the world. If you're going to be a vegan, you got to eat fruits and vegetables and fibrous things and real foods, and stay away from these things. If a box or a bag is telling you it's healthy, they're lying to you 99.99% of the time. It's all a lie. I always say if it's in a bag or a box, it's generally not good for you. There are a few exceptions, but they are so limited. And I'm one of the biggest learns in the whole company, because my background is I got my master's and I was in the athletic performance world. And for decades, not only did I put it in my own body, but I recommended protein shakes and protein bars and things with maltodextrin, really bad forms of whey protein. If you don't know this yet, do your own research again. Casein protein, which in the athletic performance world is recommended to be taken at night because it's a lower acting protein. But here's what people don't talk about is that casein protein, according to the China study, which was a 500-page written book by the top cancer researcher on planet Earth ever, who was able to do a human study in China over 30 years with the prime minister there, ended up writing the book called The China Study. Sugar is the catalyst, but casein protein, which is a milk dairy protein, is the leading cause of cancer in the country. Go read the book. It's not because I'm saying it. It has nothing to do with our products. Not a health claim. That's what your top doctor in the world says that wrote the book, The China Study. It was the only doctor ever to be able to do a true human study. The prime minister of China fell ill with cancer and asked him to come over. And because over there they can do human studies, he did it. There were other factors. Read the book. They started eating the American lifestyle, the wine, the meat, the things that a lot of people in the early days in China could not afford. Okay, we're going to come back to that in a second. But we're going to discover the other part of your why from the business standpoint, because it all goes hand in hand, our health and our finances. So the other part of our why, the other person we're looking for all the time, are people that want better in their lives financially. We all know that finances cause more arguments. It's a headache. It's a drag, stress. I would say a lot of the medication for anxiety is over, just bills. You're going to see some numbers in a second to help you make sense to you. But when we run into people, we've got a $30 business here that can give them a part-time business to start paying off debt, to start creating a lifestyle they really want. Maybe get out of those 60-hour work weeks. When our grandparents were moving through life, it was usually just one of them that worked really hard. Then our parents, that age group they called the baby boomers, well, all the women wanted to work. So now then both parents now work 50, 60 hours a week, and the kids almost raised themselves. I know I was a school teacher, football coach. Maybe your kids didn't, but most of the kids that came to my classrooms did. They got dropped off early, and many were still waiting late in the afternoon to get taken home if they didn't ride the bus, because both parents are at work all the time. Why are they both at work? Because it takes both people working in 2024 in the United States of America to even survive, much less thrive. So it's really hard to get ahead trading time for money. If you don't own it, very seldom are you ever going to get ahead. Here are some facts to prove it. Let's look at the right-hand side first. So if the average person out there makes $4,000 per month, now just look at the numbers. Yours could be higher or lower. Do your own math. But this will just give you a general look at why life is so hard. But the average house payment is $1,750. That's not a very big, expensive house in today's world, unless you got some of those low interest rates a few years back, but definitely not today's new interest rate world. Groceries, $500 plus for a family of four. That's probably very low. I know our grocery bills plus $500 a week with 4 children when they're all at home, much less a month. Utilities, $430. Again, depending on where you live, that can also be low. It might be a little high for a few of you, but not all of you. I don't know who gets 2 car payments for $900, because our car payments used to be that much almost for one car. So it's, I mean, again, very low. But if you look at that, just on those basic small bills there, if you're making $4,000 a month, you got $170 left over. That's how quick it goes. So we ain't even done anything yet. So if both spouses are working and making $4,000 per month, and I know some of you make more than that, but some of you live nicer than that. Some of your mortgages are $5,000 a month. Some of your grocery bills are $2,000 a month. So I always say, until you get above 250, 300,000 a year, all you're doing is matching your lifestyle that you're trying to live at. And it's just, you're almost in survival mode all the time. And the other thing is that income we're creating in those jobs or small businesses, which generally we just own our own job at that point. That income is what's called linear income, which means the second we quit giving those jobs or businesses our 60-hour work week, the money stops. So there's no end date. And what I always tell people, I heard TD Jakes, he's a pastor in Dallas, I heard this say this one time, is that most people never set their compass in life. They just go through life. Like if you were going to travel somewhere, you set the navigation system. First thing I do when I get in my car, I put in my navigation system, my destination, so I have a roadmap to get to where I'm going. Well, most people financially and health-wise, they never, ever set their navigation system. They eat what they want to. They do what they want to. When they have their first heart attack in their 50s or 60s or diagnosed with cancer, like, oh, no, what happened? Well, I've just gone through life without a navigation system trying to put the right things in my body. Or I get to be in my 40s and 50s and I don't have my bills paid for and I'm way in debt. I'm trying to survive and my kids' colleges are going to have to be on their own or not get to go. And like, well, there was no navigation set. So I encourage everybody to set your navigation system. And then what everybody's got to do is you got to look deep inside and like, this is who we're looking for. And I think you're one of those people or you wouldn't be here today, but this is who you're looking for. You're looking for those people who don't want to survive anymore. They are ready to thrive. Like you're trapped in this world that we've been thrown into and we want out of it. We want a lifestyle. We want to travel. We want our kids to have income to go to college on. We want them to have a car to drive. We got to be able to pay their insurances, their car, their cell phones, which a lot of that list I showed you a second ago wasn't even on there. I'm going to skip that slide for now. But the last thing I'm going to say on this before we actually get into the meat and potatoes of the business is if you get residual income, at least one thing gets back on your side, and that is some time freedom. So I always ask if you could just start this simple. What if you could make what you're currently making, but not have to trade 60 hours of your life for it every week? That's called residual income. You do the work one time, and then once you build it, it keeps coming. Can you build residual income that's worthwhile in a day or two? No, probably not even in a year or two. But who else is going to give you a 3 to 7 year game plan to go out there and build a residual income to give you both time and money for the rest of your life? So this shows you what it would take with money to build residual income. So if you wanted to make $10,000 a month, which is what it's basically going to take for an American to live in today's world comfortably, that's about $2.4 million in the bank at 5% interest, which is what it's drawing right now. I haven't been drawing that for years, but it is in some cases between 4 and 5.5% right now. So if you have $2.5 million, you can draw out $10,000 a month without eating against your principal. Well, I can tell you right now, a high school football coach and a stay-at-home mom of 4 doesn't have that. So Sarah Weaver, I stole your slide here. I thought it was so nice, but Sarah wrote this down. It's my wife's favorite subject, and it is. And Susan, Frank, I'm going to come to you on this too, and then we're going to go into Partner Co itself, like why Partner Co. But embrace your why. You got to understand what your goals are. Set your compass point on where you want your health to be. Not tomorrow. We can't fix what's taken 10 years tomorrow. It's going to take 6 months, sometimes in cases 12 months. In some cases, Dr. Crystal, she dropped 162 pounds, but it was 2 years. It's a compass change. And it, depending on how far we're traveling, depends on how long it's going to take us to reach our destination. And the same thing financially. If you're sitting out there making $150,000, $200,000 a year, it's going to take us a little longer to get you retired. If you're like me, coaching high school football for $50,000 a year, I can get there pretty quickly in a little home-based business like this and be able to go full-time at it and really enjoy life. So Ashley, Rowland, and then Susan Frank, I want y'all to talk just a little bit about your whys. And Susan, if you want to call on Susan Cameron, do that too, because it was Susan Cameron's training, and then we're going to move into Partner Co.
Well, to me, this is everything in the foundation of your business. Like if you really want your business built on a solid, I call it a rock foundation, it's really getting real with yourself and knowing your why, whether it's for yourself or if you've got a family, you and your spouse, sit down and get real about it. Like, what is it that you want from your business that you can't get with what you're currently doing? And it's different for everybody. And at whether for Todd and I, it was just a couple extra $100 a month that was, we needed just to survive for groceries and survival mode. And then after that, it was, what, we can actually pay off his student loan. And then eventually your why will keep growing as you grow in your business. And so that's the true foundation. And that's going to be what's going to set your business and keep you going, because it's going to get hard. This isn't easy. This is a real business, and this is part-time for the masses. So everybody here works full-time, right? And so you've already gone and worked full-time. You come home, you've got kids, you've got extracurricular activities, you've got homework, you've got laundry, you've got dinner. So what is it that's going to make you sit down and give that extra hour or 30 minutes or 2 hours, whatever it is, to your business? And if you don't have that, then you're not going to be willing to sit down, and you're going to go, oh, you know what? I've worked so hard today. It's been a very stressful day. I think I'm just going to go unplug from all of this and go watch that show, whatever that is. Instead of investing in yourself, investing in your family, and investing in your business. So the why to me is the absolute foundation of your business and getting started and being here long term.
And for me, when I started, I was a registered nurse. I enjoyed what I did, but being a mom, I wanted to be a mom. Like that was my dream job. So just to be able to have a phone-based business and a full-time life, and do you put effort into it? Absolutely. But yesterday I was at 5 basketball games for my son, able to be there, able to be present. And when I had a break, I could go do this business on the side. And this business fits into your life, but you do have to find time to fit it in. And why do you want better? Like, I'll never give up on my kids. Like, I'll never get up on my people. Like, my team's like family. All you guys in this company are like family. And that's what I love, is it's a community of people that truly care, I have a positive mindset and are willing to help the next person, or they would never get started in the first place. So it's just the best thing in the whole wide world, and it's fun. So I feel like I don't work a day in my life. Like I get to go have fun every day.
Yeah, once you get through the start here, it becomes the greatest business on planet Earth, because your life begins to change. And then even better, you begin to become a small part of helping other people change their life. You can never change somebody's life totally for them, but you can be the seed and kind of someone that believes in them long enough to get them through the start, where they can start developing their own belief in themselves and really going out and doing it. Susan is that person now. I met Susan really early on in her journey in this industry. When Ken Bailey and I would have to do her presentations, she did not ever want to do them on her own. And today she's her own leader. She's taken her own team to Puerto Rico. She does her own meetings. She does it all. Like, she's now that person. And a lot of you that are on Susan's team or other people's team that have joined us today, you're going to become that leader one day. Whoever you're leading you now, whether that be John Oakey and Christy, or whether you're on Kristen White's team or Ashley and Reese's team. But if you're down there and you're thinking, oh, that's them, not me. No, this is a pass it on business. As fast as you want to, you get to be the one being the educator and the teacher and growing your business and your team and pouring into other people's life. But you can never do that as a negative person. So the first thing you have to do here is switch your mindset. And it all begins with identifying that you don't want to be normal anymore. You don't want this rat race. You want lifestyle. You want freedom. You want money. You want it all. So now let's switch gears a little bit and start talking about why this partner code 2995 business. Well, let's start with, it's not on here, but what other business can you start for $30? I mean, it doesn't exist. And some products that you like or want to sell, like, it's not out there on planet Earth. But so from day one in a business, I don't care if you're a pharmaceutical rep making $350,000 a year. They're the most fragile jobs on planet Earth. They make great money. But man, I've been around. I've been around the block. Once that particular product you're selling is gone, boom, so is your job. And we all know the people in corporate America that get laid off, that have high paying jobs. We know the car salesmen that work 80 hours a week, and all of a sudden the economy goes into recession, and they're still working 80 hours a week, but they're not making a living anymore. The real estate agents. So very few of those people, no matter how big their incomes get, ever have an asset. Something's going to pay you if something goes wrong. Like if you get sick, or maybe you have to go take some time off. My wife is having to do that right now. Her dad is having surgery tomorrow. He's had several surgeries. So she's been able to spend basically the last 6 months in Texas on and off very regularly. With a real job, you can't do that. Nobody's going to give you 6 months off during the year. But if you build an asset that's kicking off income every week, based upon work you did before, you can. So the asset, you've got your residual income, and you can start as simple as for $30, you just start creating cash flow in your life. Sometimes we talk about the big things, the vacations, the new houses, getting out of debt. But I can tell you, when Ashley and I started, an extra $200 in our life during a week was a total difference maker. So just extra cash flow coming to your house on a Friday or into your app based upon some sales of products you made on social media. Your partner co-business lets you, Susan just said it. I mean, real life. She went 5 basketball games today or yesterday, but still got to do her business. You get to work from anywhere, anytime. You can work when you travel. You can work all day. Maybe one day you work 15 hours at this. It's like a real work day. And then 3 other days, it's all on you. Whatever you want to do, it's completely your call. Crazy tax advantages. I'm at my dad's house now, he's a retired CPA, and just blows my mind still to this day, the differences in getting a 1099 as an independent contractor compared to being an employee. The tax advantages, there's 157 tax advantages to being a 1099 contractor. We're not going to go into that today, but the tax advantages are just outrageous. Here's one of my favorite things. Whatever you build, you get to leave for your kids. I mean, not only can we not leave our jobs to our kids, we probably don't want to leave our jobs to our kids. Like I always say, at least as a high school football coach, I had a job I loved. My son is coaching now, and I'm happy followed in my footsteps there. But there's a lot of people, I know them, I work with them every day, that go to jobs they don't like strictly to make income to survive. Who would want to leave a job they didn't like to their children? There's no income cap here. Like, you have the ability here to make millions. Will everybody make millions? Heck no, they won't. You got to develop talent. You got to get good at this. You got to become an extremely positive person. As your businesses get bigger, you've got to learn to work with all kinds of people, all kinds of personalities without judgment. There's a million things that go into building a big $1 million business, but we'll do $1 million. Go ahead.
I was going to say that might be one of my favorite things right there. No income cap. You decide for yourself how much you're worth and how much your family's worth. Where else can you go do that? Like a lot of people go in for their job interview and they're told how much they're worth and how much what they're going to get paid an hour. And we just accept that. Like, that's okay. And we don't have to, it doesn't have to be that way. We're so, been programmed a certain way. We need to throw all of that out the window and just start investing in ourselves. Treat this like $1 million business, and when you got your why, all of this right here will come into play, and it will pay you like $1 million business. But then when you really can define for yourself and create your own, like Todd and I, we want, if we want a pay raise, we just go back to work again, Where else can you go decide that for yourself? And this right here might be my absolute favorite little part of what you've got your hands on in your business, is that there's no income cap and you get to decide your worth.
Yeah. So you're going to see this in the pay plan. We're about to go into it, that every leg you build increases your income. So there have been times in our journey where we had 4 kids involved in a lot of sports, and that took precedence with our quality time because we had our residual income. But now we're empty nesters, and we would love even more income. So what do? We go build another leg. Or in our case, we just set a goal to build 3 new legs. So it's however many you want to build. Susan Frank, if you don't mind, Susan, in the early days, maybe I grew Susan's mind. Maybe her dad had already grown her mind. I don't know. Maybe Kim Bailey grew her mind. But today I can tell you Susan Frank grows my mind, because we were talking about making $250,000 a month on the incentive trip. And I said, I don't know if we can get to that kind of money or not. And Susan yelled at me, like, yes, you can. We just met this Chinese lady. She's making $100,000 a week. That's 400,000 a month. So Susan, why don't you share that real quick? The no income cap, what the Chinese lady that was on the trip with us is making. And
Man, that's why I love getting around and going to events and everything that I can plug into possibly. But she had optimized like 12 lines, and I was like, oh, dang, if she can do it, we can surely do it. So it's just finding a leader on each line, and you can't do it overnight. And we talked about why. Like, my first why is my house was hot. Like, I needed mini blinds. So it doesn't have to be anything big, but I wrote that down and I checked it right off the list. And if you can do that for yourself, start small and grow, like build big. It's all about like just seeing yourself do it and not stopping, and don't let other people slow you down or be like, don't be looking left and right like they're doing better than me. It doesn't matter. Keep looking straight ahead at your goals. And what are you going to do to get there? You're going to keep stepping. The only way not to do it is to stop. So just keep on stepping. That's the key to everything. And my dad bought me a car at 16 through network marketing. So nobody could shake me on this business works. He worked, he was gone in the evenings, but he changed our lifestyle. And everybody's helped my mind and grown my mind. You, Todd, Ken, Ashley, the friendships, the people, like everybody, everything, all the things, they're all great. And I've just met some of the most fun and great friends of my entire life through this business. So it's just amazing. And you can't let other people like slow you down. Or if your team isn't doing like as fast as you want to go find some new people. Like, don't leave those people, but don't let your team slow you down. Like, you're not their boss. You got to go lead by example. And that's the true key here. And I know Susan, I don't know if she wants to share her why or kind of what she's thinking, but I didn't want to overstep her over here.
yes, Susan Cameron, if you share your why and your success so far and your goal, we're doing this because of you.
Hey there, can you guys see me?
We got you.
Hey, how is everybody? So good to be here. Thanks, Todd, for doing this. Yeah, so my team is growing quickly, so they're just coming in. Hey, I want to know everything. So they are hungry. They're so much like me. But yeah, I joined this. I used to be an emotional therapist, and I struggled with a lot of chronic, complex autoimmune issues. And my son, too, has had a lot of autoimmune issues, and we've sought out every doctor. So ours is more of a medical journey that I needed answers. And in a week, I was totally transformed by our products. And just something small as he had to be, I mean, it's pretty big, but he had to be pulled out of school due to toxic mold. And so I needed to homeschool him. And so I was working for my husband and really felt like I just did not have a purpose at all in his business. I just didn't really fit there. And just something maybe silly to other people, like he needed a new mattress. And my husband and I were arguing over buying an organic mattress. So, it was our money until it was time to buy, make a big purchase. So I literally wanted to buy a $2,000 mattress. So that was kind of why I started out. And when I found out that we had products like this that could help people, I knew that we have something unlike anything in this world with using energetic medicine. So now I can use everything I believe in to share and help other people build businesses. So it's just really incredible, everything about this business, and to see myself so quickly thrive when I don't have a background. So if I can do this, like literally anybody can do it.
So our goal here, which you're seeing it happen right now with Susan Cameron in Virginia, Susan Frank in North Carolina, I'm in Florida, and my wife Ashley is in San Antonio, Texas. We're just a big sales team connected together out here around the country. So your little $30 business, if you want to make it $1 million enterprise one day, you just want to build distributorships or other business owners selling products, maybe initially in your town or your state, your country, your continent, but then eventually you want that to grow out all around the world. And why partner co in the home-based business industry? Well, we have what's called the AAA plus opportunity rating. That means we're as trustworthy as you can come in the network marketing industry. We have been ranked periodically the number one company in momentum. We kind of hang in the top 3, 4, or 5 pretty consistently for the last year that PartnerCo has been in business. It is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I always say it's the unicorn that the industry, if you've ever been in the industry before, it's the unicorn you've always looked for a lot of reasons. We're not going to go into those today. Our compensation plan is number one payout in the industry. It is undisputable. You can always compare how pay plans pay out, but when you get to the actual dollar amount, there is not another network marketing company out there paying out 50%. Okay, so how do you start? Well, you start by establishing that your why. Why do you want better health? What are you willing to do to get it? Why do you want better finances? And what are you going to do to get it? So, I mean, $30 for a business in 2024, heck, it's $30 for oxygen in some places you go to now. I mean, it's $30 for my family to stop at Starbucks. And more than $30 for my family, for all 6 of us to go in and get a Starbucks. It's more than $30. Heck, I think it's $30 when Ashley and I go in. It's stupid how expensive things are today. So it's hard to believe that you can get a $30 business that if you put the time and effort into it, that could create just an absolute total life change for you. When you do that, you get the PartnerCo Share app. Make sure you download it. So I told Susan we would do a basic and a detailed training. It was initially going to be an hour-long basic and an hour-long detailed. I combined it together, so it's going to be about a little bit over an hour. So we're going to get into we're going to say basic and detailed stuff kind of as we go here. But you need to download that PartnerCo Share app if you don't have it yet. Make sure you have your ID and password. If you don't, you can always call Rep Services and get it, or you can call your upline and get it. If you don't have the ability to do either one of those, just anybody you know will steer you in the right direction. It's very simple. There's all kind of trainings you can plug into. We have the IPA call. There's probably not a better call on planet Earth that I've ever seen in network marketing. It began with 3 or 4 people, and now then there are so many people that show up there and share every morning. There's nobody that runs it. It's just a team of hundreds of people showing up every day and collaborating together on some of the greatest ideals. So that is at 10:15 Eastern, 9:15 Central. It's every morning, 5 days a week. I do have a doctor's appointment I cannot miss in the morning at 9 a.m. I'm supposed to be back on tomorrow. So if some of you are on that call when I'm at in the morning, just know I'll be hopping on as soon as I get out of that doctor's office. But once you do get your $29.95 business, you then have to qualify it. You can qualify it by either buying and or selling product. We have a lot of people that sell their way. They don't ever buy anything. They pre-sell product on social media and use other people's money. They collect on their cash apps to buy their first 4-pack of skinny drops. You can do it any which way you want to. But your ultimate goal is to become ultimate. And to do that, you need to buy or sell 1,500 points of products, preferably in those first 4 Fridays of business. We're not going to go into the details on that. Everybody kind of trains that differently. I'm going to kind of stay away from that. But just know you want to get to ultimate. One way to do it, when you start getting that activated business, and probably the way that most people are doing it on this particular call, not always everywhere in the world, but on this particular call, I think most people are using the skinny drop system. So you buy that 4-pack of skinny drops, you use 1 and you sell 3. If you're adverse to that and you just want personal consumption, you could do 2 boxes of skinny drops, 2 boxes of Moa. There's all kind of combinations. You just need to be 200 points of some kind, and that will qualify your business. You can then move on up to business level with 500 points. You can start at business level. We met a girl from Italy. Her name is Masha Urbana. You can follow her on Instagram. She is number 2 in the world right now in the power rankings. She is a single mom of 2, and she is a crazy top earner. But she was sharing with Ashley that she only starts people with 500 volume points. So Ashley, would you mind sharing real quick how she has gathered like 10,000 customers on Instagram, and then how she converts them over with a 500 point pack to brand partners?
Well, it's for her. She does it a little bit a slower pace, but it's all about the customers. And then they eventually tell her they want to be business partners with her, and they say, "Oh," she says, "Okay, well then you're going to start with 500 volume points, and you're going to get on these products." And then she gets them up and going and trained. And then after a certain time, once they're trained, she gets them immediately, doing their own presentation, videoed, and they have the whole system up and running. So it's all about, for her, at first, the customer. and getting them they're using the products, and then they come to her and say, hey, you know, I want to do what you're doing. I want to have a business, and I want to like you, and I want to be a business partner with you. So she's like, okay, well, you're only going to come in this way with these products, 500 volume points, these products, you're going to start. And then she gets them on that system and they start sharing, they start posting. And so it's pretty much the same thing we do, but she only lets them start with 500 volume points.
Yeah. So if you're familiar with the Facebook group called Level Up Life, go in there, find my post. I think it was on my link. Yeah, it was my post in Level Up Life. We did about a 15-minute interview with Masha one of the last days there at the pool in Tahiti. And one of the things she said there is she was 6 months in before she ever signed up her first brand partner. She had a ton of customers, and they do a lot on Instagram. They do it a little bit different. We're not going to go into how to, because you know everybody's system is a little different. Just apply that to your skinny drop system that you already understand doing, working, growing. It's the same thing. It's just, but she was bad at the brand partner side, but she told her upline, which was named Paulo, who is a multi-million dollar earner in the industry, told Paulo that she wanted to make the big money. And Paulo said, well, you can't make big money only selling product. You must build team and network marketing to make big money. Build a team of salespeople. And so what they began to do, it's the same exact thing we all do. She began to get those customers teed up for Zooms with Paulo. And Paulo would talk money and mindset with them, which is what we're doing today. Part of this training came from my training with Paulo about how to help people's mind. He's way better at it than I am. I know it all. I used to do it a lot, but I get so tied into the product now, I forget the mindset training that so many of us need when we begin our journey here, setting our why and figuring out the business side of this. But just know that once you get started here, you now have your virtual franchise. That's a global virtual franchise that can operate officially in 58 countries. I think I heard them say on this trip, we're shipping into 68 countries right now. Matter of fact, we signed up somebody in Tahiti while we were there. I think Kim Gray signed somebody up in Hawaii, maybe in Australia. I know that others have people in other countries, so it's very easy to move your business into other countries. Don't forget to download that Partner Co Share app. If you don't know what it looks like, there it is. That will aid you in your virtual business. You'll also get your online presence. When you get your online presence, that little circle up there with the red dot shows that man. You have to click on him and you have to log in. It's the same ID and password for both the app and online. I will tell you, the app is great for your tools, your PDFs, your videos, things along those lines. But I do all business online. Even though my iPhone and iPad, I just have the Partner Co Shares online Safari. I save that as an icon on your phone. It's very easy to do. It's like an app once you do that. But that app has to connect to the same online presence. So it can be a little glitchy on some of the shopping and or enrolling. So when I'm working in that world, I just go straight online. Just a little tip there. Once you log in, your 4 basic things will be on what's called your dashboard, and that's enroll. When you enroll somebody, the default will always put them in the right spot, which is going to be your lesser leg that you're building on the far left. But there's a lot of things we want to decide. So you can change that to manual. We're not going to train on that on this. We can do a sign up training at a different time, or just get with your upline. But the first 24 hours when you sign somebody up, it'll go into a placement queue, and you can get with somebody in your upline and let them help you place it, make sure it's in the right spot. And if something goes wrong, we have up to 10 days to call it in and get it fixed. You shop there. Make sure you have a subscribe and save. We'll talk about that in 1 second. And then the last thing is, I think this gets lost a lot because I have to fix this a lot of times for people. The company's never going to keep your money. Whenever yours is fixed, it will release that following Friday. But make sure when we sign people up that they go into there. By the way, if you look at the top left, all those little lines right there, if you're brand new, this is some of the basic training. Drop it down, click on My Money. When you click on My Money, click on Partner Co-Pay, and make sure 2 things. Make sure, number 1, you put your Social Security number in. They cannot pay you without your tax ID number, which is your Social Security number. You can change that to an LLC. There's a form you would have to fill out and send in. They'll always sign people up in their Social Security. They can fill out that form and put it into whatever they want to put it into. And I don't have a recommendation there. It's equally good on both. I've done both. I'm currently in my Social Security number for some of the home business write-offs you get at your house and different things. But then also make sure you put your direct deposit information. It's very important you change that direct deposit information to 100%. And it's very important you hit that save button. People think they do it, but they don't click save. And we have to go in and fix it. So Ashley, I know you fixed a lot of stuff on this level. Anything you want to add there, or anybody else wants to add anything?
No, you can either, just to double check yourself. So, you go out and then just come back in and just make sure all that information's still there. So then you'll know that it was actually saved. It's just kind of like a little insurance policy there, because there's nothing worse than to wake up Friday and realize that you didn't get paid because you said you went, you thought, or you did go put everything in, but you forgot to click that little bitty button called save. And so just, go out and then come back into that area right there. And then if all your information's still there, you're good to go.
Todd, just a note, if they don't have their direct deposit information set up or don't have it correctly, they'll just hold it each week and try to pay you until it's there. So you don't lose your commission. They just hold it and they try to pay you every Friday. Once you get it set up, it'll go right in.
Perfect, Ken. Thank you. Yeah, they're never going to hold your money. It's coming. The only time you don't get paid and you don't get it back is if you don't have a reoccurring 100-point order every fourth Friday, which we're going to cover in 1 second. Okay, so let's talk about what we do now. We have this business. We have our desire for better financially. So how do we get it now? What do we do? What's the start that stops most people? Well, the first thing we do is we sell product. And one thing that the Europeans do, they did 3 million in sales the week before we got to Tahiti. 3 million. America's not even to 1 million a week yet. So they're crazy killing us with way less population. Both those two girls on the right are Europeans. So they only sell at retail, zero exception. Zero exception. It is only retail sales ever. With they get angry when you ask them different questions. So so make sure on the skinny drops that nobody drops that price below 150. That is the retail sale when you're buying in bulk. But if you send out a smart link, I'm doing it myself now. You'll see me posting on Instagram because it's harder to convert on Instagram. So on some Instagram, not Facebook. On Facebook, I'll be selling my boxes like always. But on some of my Instagram and TikToks I'm going to be doing, I will have my link included because that's how they do it. And because we were having a hard time converting, especially TikTok customers. Those have been our hardest conversions. It's hard to communicate with those people. So you'll see those links going out on those social media things. But when I send my links out, it will be retail only. Retail only. I'm going to say that 1,000 times over. My granddad taught me at a very young age. My granddad was such a wise man. But he always told me that when somebody has more wisdom than you, spend a ton of time with them, like pick their brain. So it was really funny. The first day, and one of the things when we got together as a group, we had to go meet people from other countries. So Brent Palmer and I both ran to Masha, Paulo, and Daniela. And
actually, I thought they were going to tackle. I thought they were going to tackle people and knock people over to get to them. So those two were on the same page there. It was pretty comical.
Yeah, because they're killing us. So we wanted to know the little things they're doing different than us that's making all the difference. But one thing, so Paulo's the one that's made tens of millions in network marketing. He just says the conversion to brand partner is 10 times easier when they're buying retail. But the other thing is he makes people money. Like if you're giving your product away, you're not making money. Like you're not chasing your why. Like why would he put somebody into business and then give away all your profit? Like that makes no sense. No business person does that. Like a furniture store runs sales, but because they got their furniture marked up 4 times, they just knock off $100 that they should have been the price in the first place, or 300, whatever it was. So don't lower the price where you're not making money. 30% retail profit. We sell products to end consumers. That's what we do. That's the whole Partner Co mission. And we sell some of the best products in the world out there. As a matter of fact, the products that we sell, when you add all the different industries that they're in together, from the athletic performance to weight loss to sleep to hormonal balance to energy drinks to healthy skincare, guys, it's a $4 trillion global empire. That's bigger than Apple. That's bigger than Tesla combined together. Guys, you've got your fingers in the middle, and it's global now. It's funny that in Tahiti, this land of fruit and honey, how many people are overweight? So we signed up. Ashley and I signed up someone while we were there. We spent the last day with him that afternoon getting trained again. And I was asking him, I'm like, why are people getting overweight here? And he's like, well, we have a fat gene, which a lot of us in America do too. Life is not always fair there, but it's the way he said it's the Western influence. Believe it or not, they have a McDonald's in Tahiti.
And one
they
Burger
have,
King, one
and a Burger
McDonald's,
King.
and one.
And they have all the sugary snack food. So, I always say, generally speaking, people with less money end up getting fatter. Why? Because they go buy the cheap man-made foods that have just pure fillers and junk in them that destroy our bodies. Eat less or spend money more wisely on healthy things for your body. I can never emphasize that enough. It's really sad to see it affecting people in those parts of the world that have all this great food that grow on trees in their backyard all the time. I think Reese Antley and I were talking that we even cheated a little bit and still lost weight in Tahiti because the food you eat, the raw fish, the fruits, it's just amazing when you eat the good, healthy food God's made. But this is what we sell, the world's best products. Okay. Now, how do we sell them? Well, make sure we're not going to train on boards today. There are some great boards training. I know Michelle McKay did one about 2 weeks ago that's outstanding. There's a lot of great boards trainings out there. So that's a training within itself. But just make sure that's it in the center of the screen. And again, thank you, Sarah Weaver. I stole this slide from you too. Sarah's got a great training. We're going to put Sarah Weaver on a Saturday morning training. We're going to put Melissa in Missouri on a Saturday morning training on the digital business card and getting all your social media line, which Melissa, I started working on that yesterday. If you go look, you're going to be proud of me. I've got it all in my notebook. We're following all of your advice. Ash and I do not even know 1% of what we want to know. Like you never arrive at this. There's so many of you on this call that aren't talking today that we're learning from constantly. But make sure, matter of fact, I learned the boards from Ashley Paulson and Dr. Crystal. And Andrea Rosser. I figured out the skinny drop system, but they figured out the board system. So we collaborated together. That's the reason you always want to work with other people. The second you go into a rabbit hole by yourself and your team, you are destined for not good. I can just tell you. I've been out here too long. I've seen too much. All right. Last thing on this part. You're going to need, once you get going, if you want to get paid by the company, they give you a 4 Friday grace period. When you pay your $29.95 and sell or buy your first 200 points, you have 4 Fridays you're going to get paid. But on the 4th Friday, you must have a 100-point order that reoccurs every 4th Friday. You can do it yourself. Like, for example, we love the HGH product Renew and MOA. That is our auto ship. I always tell you, put as much as you want to an auto ship, but we generally keep a lower amount on an auto ship, like maybe 200 points. And then we'll just buy in bulk, because in the bulk buying, you get a bigger discount. So it's good. But the auto ships also have a discount. So make sure you find those auto ships that have products put together that you put there, because you also get more product for less money there. But it unlocks your loyalty shopping. It unlocks your ability to, by the way, you've got to have an auto ship or you lose your reward dollars to win these free trips. I know many of you saw the pictures coming out of Tahiti. It was, you'll find this out when we're going to do a call just with the Tahiti trip winners. But it was the best vacation ever. Like, it's just, we can't even describe it. It's impossible to describe. Everybody's got to win it. We'll be in the Bahamas. A lot of you are going to be there in just a few weeks, but you must have an auto ship for those reward dollars to be building. That's another training within itself. But as long as you have your auto ship, your trips are being calculated up kind of behind the scenes there. And we'll do a training on how to keep track of that for you. Anything you want to add there, Ashley, or anybody?
No, I think you're fine. I'm proud of you for saying 4 Fridays.
You finally trained me. Okay, now the last piece of this puzzle. How do we get to the big money? The retail sales create the cash flow. We're getting paid in our cash out. We're getting paid off of smart links. We're getting paid every direction we're selling product, selling skinny drops. But then we start building a global sales team. What's a global sales team? It's people that pay $29.95 and start selling products and making money. That's all it is. Like, don't make this harder than what it really is. Like, when you skin this whole thing back, the only thing you have to do to get richer is grow your mind and become a positive person and learn how to take negative situations and make them positive. Learn how to speak life into people, not death into people. Learn how not to gossip. Learn how to change the subject when people talk about other people. Like, all those things are what you learn. From a business standpoint, you find a product or two that you love and you sell it, and then you build a team of people that do the same thing. That's it. That's the whole business model. And it never changes. It's it. So we want you to build a global sales team of 100,000 people, maybe 1 million people on your global sales team one day. Why not? Like Susan Frank said, if the girl in China can make $100,000 a week, Susan Frank can make $100,000 a week. That's 400,000 a month. That's about 5 million a year. That's a pretty good income for a lady that was making basically minimum wage in a job in a communist country when this business found her. It's not a bad gig. And how does she do it? Her name is Shu Win, and Shu Win is going to come on one of her IPA calls. So that's a good time for her. We're also going to be bringing the Italian zone an IPA call. They've all agreed to it. We've got it all worked out with translators. The Shu Win does not speak English, but she has people on her team that do. So she's going to bring some of them on to translate, and we're going to reciprocate for her. Matter of fact, I'm going on the Africa Zoom this week for them, so we can bring some of the South Africans onto a Zoom for us very soon. So Anthony, I know you're here. I'll be with Blessings this week on that South African, Nigerian Zoom. All right, so we build a sales team around the world selling these products. You may not know who Robert Kiyosaki is, but he is a very, very rich man. And he wrote a lot of books. He created what's called the cash flow quadrant. He wrote a book with Donald Trump called Why We Want You to Be Rich. But he says, in his famous quote is, the richest people in the world look for and build networks. Everyone else looks for work. So if you do have a job, just know the best paying jobs are generally sales jobs, because you're the one that brings the customer to the company. Now, if it's a job, it's a job. You don't have any residual income generally. It's just a paycheck. Here you've got residual income, and you build a network of other salespeople. Like, you get to be the business, not just a salesperson. Like every great salesperson, if they ever figured out that they could have 500 great salespeople and they were getting a small little cut on it, then nobody would just want to be a salesman for themselves anymore. The only people that don't do network marketing are the people that just don't understand it, because once you understand it, like going out and being a salesman on your own makes no sense anymore. It's the stupidest thing ever.
And to me, the more you start building your mind and understanding this industry, you learn that the world may look at this as like a second class industry. But when you start really growing your mind and developing the conference and confidence in this industry, when you hear from people like what you just saw, Robert Kiyosaki, it builds your confidence in it, and knowing that this is not a second class industry. This is a real industry that allows the average person to go out here and make a difference in their life and for their family. And that's what, I think is kind of a misstep out there. People just stop and not actually grow in their mind and learning really what this industry really is and what it's about.
Yeah. So often I get asked how, like, people come to me, probably the number one question I get outside the basic questions is, Todd, how do I get to the big money? Like I have people that come from other companies that join us say, like, I've made $5,000 a month. I've made $10,000 a month. I want to make the big money. How do you make the big money? Well, this is the big picture. To make the big money, you got to build a global sales team. That's the big picture at it. But now here's how you do it. Like, here's the magic. This is where that you get to make all the difference in your businesses and somebody else's. Number one, you got to be positive. Number two, you got to speak life into people. Number three, you can never gossip. Number four, you can never judge. Everybody's different. I have more flaws than anybody. Why would I judge somebody else's flaws? Like, let it all go. We're in a people business, and if you have issues with people or situations, this business always roadblocks you. But what you really do is you understand, to build that global sales team, it is one person at a time. It's not put me in a room with 40 people at one time. It's one person at a time. One compounds to two, two compounds to four, four compounds to 16, like it just compounds so quickly. So just understand that every brand partner you put in needs love and attention. I would say for a minimum of 2 years, minimum.
Relationships.
So you plant that seed. They pay their $29.95. You have planted your new brand partner. You have to water it every day. That brand partner needs sunlight, which is your positive speaking life into them. It's just calling and checking on them, asking them about their kids, like helping them through a bad day, fixing a problem, helping them with rep services. When they call rep services and had to wait on for 15 minutes, they're mad. Hey, I'll take care of it for you. Just tell me what you need. Let me get it done. Find somebody in your upline that can get to the elite line. Find somebody, get higher than that. Just become a problem solver for them. And you cultivate it. Like as that little plant comes to life with water and sunlight, it'll get more resilient, but it ain't there yet. Like a drought can still kill it. Like a drought of brand partners. I have really good people that quit on us. And often it's the people that were kind of fringe, meaning they were really, really good. I knew them, but it wasn't somebody I was talking to every day. I have very few people quit on me that I take the time to talk to. Can I talk to everybody on my whole team every day? No. But I can tell you the ones I do generally don't quit. So what you have to do is think about that on your team. You have to cultivate it. If you're really, really good at this and you've moved really fast, like a Susan Cameron has, understand that most people on your team will not be able to do what you do. Like I did. I was not Susan Cameron. I always say I've won by attrition. I am survivor of the fittest. I just don't quit. And I always am positive, and I'm always cultivating, and I'm always watering. And sometimes, after a bad week or a bad month or something goes wrong, maybe I have to water myself sometimes and cultivate myself. I've got to recharge.
I was just about to say that, because this takes so much time and energy for this, and building those new relationships and developing those new relationships. So if you've got a spouse and a family, you have to come together, because that goes back to your why. And knowing if one is out here cultivating and building these new relationships out here, and the other one's taking care of the household and the kids, if you know your why, then you kind of find your roles in your business and understanding. And that was kind of where Todd and I kind of came into play. Was he was out here building these new relationships. I knew how much energy that took. But it's the same thing as energy he put into football. It's the same energy you're putting into your job. You're taking that same energy and building this into your into your business. But yes, but it's an add-on into your life, because you have your job too also, right? So you've got to understand that. And so Todd you have to keep kind of growing yourself and refreshing yourself, and taking a little bit of a mental break every once in a while to stop and decompress a little bit, so you can have that energy force again into building, into being able to pour into somebody and love on that person and be that problem solver for that person. And so anyway, always remember that this is probably the lost art in the industry that doesn't get talked about, because this is the hardest part sometimes.
Not sometimes. It is the hardest part.
Yep.
And it's harder so if I do have a gift, this is my gift, because I truly love people. Like I love everybody. It's not ever fake. I love people. Like I cannot get enough, to my own probably wives and kids' detriment. I'm always just giving to other people. So if that doesn't come easy for you, that's the part you have to work on. Like you have to work on that like you're going to have a big business of people one day that need you. They need your energy. They need your belief that you have now built. But the harvest will come. It will just come in such a massive way if you do that. Okay. Now because I had all this built, we've got 20 minutes left. You absolutely do not have to stay. We're going to spend 10 minutes on money and 10 minutes on a couple of products. On money, we've already talked about the residual income. I'm sorry, the retail income, and then that new volume bonus, getting paid that 30%. I think everybody on this call understands all of that. That's that quick cash flow. But the residual income, we're going to start building a business, either 2 legs or 3 legs in the beginning. You see those first 2 legs are a little darker orange. It's optional, you and your team. I don't have a perfect way. There is no perfect way here. I can always build better in hindsight. I never know who's going to work, who's not, any better than you do. I know I'm going to work. I always say, when you ever realize that the person you're looking for stares at you in the mirror every morning, you're about to get rich in network marketing. But when you're looking for somebody to make you rich, you're going to have a hard journey in our industry. It's your job to help other people make money, not their job to make you money. That's the mindset. Like that's the paradigm shift that switches you into a big time earner in the industry. Will good people show up? They end up being better than you? Absolutely, they will. But very few do without you investing and cultivating them for a year or two. They cultivate themselves into being better than you. Okay, so we're going to build. I'm just going to say 3 legs of business that is dictated in the system. Don't worry about understanding this. It's a little bit deeper training if you're brand new. It's 3 separate areas of business. But on these 3 legs of business, which are dictated based upon where you sign people up, if you don't know how to do that, someone in your upline will help you do it until you get it done. Don't always have them do it for you. Have them share screen and show you. Like, don't give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him to fish and feed him for a lifetime. So teach people how to look at their volume. I'm going to show you that in 1 second in their back office, and how to place people. You can see in what we call our base pay, you're going to be paid 15% on this global sales team that you're going to be building around the world to unlimited depth. So it does not matter where your global sales team grows to in any country. You get 15% of the sales that occur in that business. And we get paid here every Friday with no delay. So weeks in on Friday night at midnight, the next Friday you get paid. By the way, you get paid on every leg of business that you ever build. You can one day build as many as you want. If you start at Ultimate, you'll start with 5 legs, but you can earn more. You'll earn way more than you'll ever need. But if you're building 3 legs, indicated here, 4,800 points in leg 1, 2,000 in 2, 3,000 in 3. You're going to get paid on 2 and 3 because they're the smaller legs. You get paid on every leg but the biggest. So on that 4,800 point leg in this area paid, no pay. You do get paid on it in a different area though. So here is 2,000 times 15% is $300, and then 3,000 times 15% are $450. Add it all together. So in this area of pay, you've now made $750 for the week with your global sales team selling and making retail profit.
Uh-oh.
Those kids try to call in.
I know, FaceTime and everything, right? I think it kicked him off completely.
Yep.
Well, I don't know how to pick up on where he was on base pay. So so we talked to the retail sales, going through base pay and building out those lines. And then he'll show you how hopefully he's come back in.
Hey, Ashley, maybe I can fill in a little bit while we're waiting on Todd to come back. One of the things we kind of skip over when we're doing the pay plan, we say we pay 50% out of every dollar sold. Well, folks, the company or the industry average is 35%. We pay out 50%, the industry pays out 35%. And you say, well, that's 15% more. No, 50 is 30% more than 35. Think about it for a second, do your math. So we pay out 30% more than the average competition out there, whether it's, I don't know, New Skin, Melaleuca, all of them, they're in the mid-30s. We're at 50. Okay, so we pay out 30% more for doing the same work. That would be like you getting a job, John, in fast food, and KFC will pay you $14 an hour. Chick-fil-A will pay you $20 an hour. 30% more for doing the same work. Guys, we pay out 30% more for the same work. Now, that don't sound like a lot in the beginning, but that's making 100,000 versus 70,000. $1 million a year versus 700,000 a year. As those numbers get bigger, it's a huge difference that we pay out 30% more, Ashley. And that's exactly, those are the facts. You can look it up.
That's really,
he should
that's
be
really good. I thought I saw him come back
saw
in.
him pop up too.
Yeah.
That also means, Ashley, that the company, like last year, we did about 400 million in sales for the year. That means we paid out 200 million. We actually paid 51% last year, but $200 million in commission back to the field. We're on our way to becoming $1 billion company, no question about it. At $1 billion, we will be paying out $500 million. Well, the competition will be paying out $350 million. Guys, that 30% difference is huge in our paychecks and what the company pays out throughout the world. So you can rest assured, if you don't understand the 9 different ways we're paid or 8 different ways we're paid, you won't understand it early on. It's a patented pay plan. There's 3 patents in it. It's very unique, but you can understand, we pay out 30% more than the next best competition. I was in the computer field in IT, Ashley. So that would be like me getting $100 an hour versus $70 an hour, 30% more. So it's huge difference. And Todd's right.
Big
sorry
difference.
about that. Okay. You can hear me now, Ashley.
We gotcha.
Your daughter is calling me from Talladega. She's relentless.
I know.
Keep getting me off.
Well, I was like, well, heck, she's calling you. Why she calling me?
I think it's just
This
her
is one of
daughter. I
those
like how you
moments
said your daughter
I'm
is
declining
calling
my
me.
kids' phone
Yeah,
calls.
I know.
love
Y'all
people.
catch that? My daughter.
Okay. All right. So inside of your back office, you're going to go to My Money and click on volume. Now, if you're Ken Bailey, if you got that analytical PC mind, Ken can tell you everything about this back office. I can tell you 5 things. I can tell you where to put your social security number, where to put your direct deposit. I can tell you where to find your tree, how to enroll somebody. I can tell you where to shop. But the most important thing I can tell you is how to read this volume. I've known how to read the volume since day one, because if you don't understand how to read the volume, you can't understand how to build a business. So this volume runs on real time. It shows you your legs, shows you which one's weaker, which one's stronger. So as you're looking in your back office, you can see here, leg 1, that this particular week we're looking at, had 44.27. Leg 2 had 12.33, and leg 3 had 17.11. I think this is actually Susan Cameron's back office from a few weeks ago, looking at that new volume bonus over there on the right hand side. But you can see there's 17.11. So you can see leg 2 and 3 are the smaller legs. So she's going to be getting the base pay runs on real time. So it's 15% times 12.33 and 15% times 17.11. You'll see over there in that first column, the pay is already showing up. On the far right hand side, it says team lead bonus. It may say new volume bonus now, but there, that's the 30% column. So if it shows up in that column, it won't show you what the number is, but multiply 30% in that column, and that'll be your new volume bonus for the week. I will tell you that if you want to get to the really big money, then you're going to need to build, 4 to 5 to 6 legs. This right here shows you what would happen if you built 6 legs of business.
Todd, go back to that my money. I want you to focus on that my volume, because so many people get confused and they go to the tree, the graphic tree first. Go to my volume first, right? Go back, just explain that, because I think that's where.
Yeah. So I personally never go to the graphic tree. The graphic tree is a waste of your time. It tells you nothing that matters. As a matter of fact, you still don't go to the graphic tree when you sign somebody up, because when you go to enroll and when you click enroll, it's a different graphic tree in there. So if you go there and click graphic tree after you click enroll, not under business where you're just seeing the graphic, under there's going to show you the empty circles where you can put people. So that's the only time I look at a graphic tree. This is the only thing that matters. Anybody that tells you differently doesn't know what they're talking about, because once you read volume and then you go to enroll on that graphic tree, you're going to understand who's in what leg. That graphic tree will show you the whole legs too, and it will show you the circles where you can put people. My goal generally is to always build at the bottom left. I want my new signups to be underneath everybody, to get everybody to share in the volume. That's my personal way of building. That does not have to be your personal way of building, but I do have exceptions. And exceptions are, I want to keep people that know each other on the same team. I've even put people on my power leg through the years, just because I didn't want them to be constantly battling over the same people they knew. I know I'm working right now with Randy in Nashville. He's one of the fastest movers we have. He's 152 pounds down now. But I know Randy put some pastors on a very big power leg together because he didn't want to separate them. So I'm not saying you need to do that. It will cost you money short term, but it never costs you money long term, especially if you're fairly new in the business, because your power leg will become your pay leg if you don't give it some love. I watch people do that all the time. Kim Gray was the worst one I ever had that would just only work with her power leg or pay leg for the week, and then it would switch on her like every 2 weeks. I was like, Kim, will you please stop looking at which one's your biggest legs? Treat everybody the same. Build them both until a leg is doing $25,000 a week in sales. You don't have any security. Go build them big. They're all equal. Now, can you use it as a crutch not to go recruit? No. Now that's when it becomes bad, when you're only working with people. But work with them, but recruit onto those pay legs, and then work with them. So the more pay legs you have running, the busier you get. You have more and more time you're putting into it. Okay, so with our skinny drops, I'll say that at the end. So if you want to get rich here, let me see if I got the slide I'm looking for. Yeah, that's the slide I'm looking for. So our ultimate goal is to get a leg to do 13,334 volume points. Because if you multiply that times 15%, that is $2,000. You optimize. You also trigger, you trigger money in our bonus pool when you do that. So if you're on the skinny drop system, you need 27 people to order a 10-pack in a week and sell it. That would optimize a leg without an auto ship, without a random order, without new growth, without anything. Just 27 10-packs moving through a leg optimizes a leg. So I encourage you to get that done. Get your team selling those 10-packs weekly. That creates cash flow into their life. It gives them belief money, starts making a difference in their lives, and then they'll grow into the rest. Your ultimate goal here, if you want to make millions and come set yourself financially free, is you're going to have to build 4, 5, or 6 legs to 13,334 weekly, because you're going to see here, every leg that gets to 13,334 pays you $2,000. That's the math at the bottom. But every leg you optimize brings an additional bonus. So leg 2, that bonus is 450. And there's a reason that leg 2 and 3 are the same. Leg 2 is what's called an income position because it's counting against that first power leg. Leg 3 forward begins what we call the pay line pool. So every leg you get built on the pay line pool brings an exponential number of shares to it. So when you get the third leg built, it's your first pay line, so the bonus is 450 again. All this is cumulative. The fourth leg, however, the bonus jumps to 1350. The next one 2700, and the next one 4000. So if you were to go build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs here, you're probably like 1.5 million a year between this area pay and matching check. All right, as you're building that base pay, our goal initially, and the ones that do really well here have precise goals. Kim Gray had a precise goal early on to make $250 in base pay. Why? Because if she made $250, she would see money go into her savings account. So when you get your $250 paid to you, you'll get an extra 15% put into a savings account. And when that savings account hits 10,000, it'll be released to you. Robin Perone just did that this week. She's been here, I believe, 13 months. Congratulations to Robin for hitting her savings bonus. John and Christy Oak, you are with us. You can see their picture there on the top left. They did it very part-time. John was a TV guy, and Christy runs a big company. Gracie and Benny there at the bottom were pastors. Everybody knows Dr. Crystal there in the middle. And then the last area of pay we're going to talk about is called the area matching bonus. When you sponsor somebody, you can put them on any leg you want to include your power leg. This is the sponsorship tree. So you can sponsor them, but still place them in depth under everybody. So you can see on leg 1, if you personally sponsor there at the very bottom, that green circle, you put them underneath everybody for base pay, but it's still for you, first generation. When you enroll, it asks you that question. So when you sponsor somebody for life, you get a 15% match on their base pay with no minimum or no maximum. So if they make $1, you get 15 cents. If they make $1 million one day, you get 150,000. You can sponsor 100 people if you want to. You can sponsor 1,000 people if you want to. But our goal is just to at least get 4, help them get 4, and help them get 4. So that's that middle column. It just grew by 4s. You get 15% on the first generation, but it's 10% on the second, and then 5% 3 through 7. You unlock the first 3 generations of pay here by becoming ultimate and or gold status. The other 4, 5, 6, and 7 unlock based upon the amount of base pay you're making. We won't go into the details there. But just know this matching bonus one day will probably be the largest portion of your check. And we're going to end with this. We'll do product training on a different training. I will do it this week, though, because I've got like 10 products people want to know about. We're going to do that training this week. I'll get it set up. Maybe this coming Saturday morning will be a good time to do on that Saturday morning training. But the last thing is you can win free vacations. We've been able to win 2 a year. The next Tahiti trip is not announced yet. I think they're going to announce it in Tahiti at PXP in Orlando. So we don't know what the qualifications are to win it yet. But right now, you've been able to win the Bahamas trip. I think a large portion of the people on this call are going to be in the Bahamas. There's a lot of winners. It's going to be a fantastic trip. So make sure that if your goal is to travel and have a good lifestyle, that you start understanding how to win these trips. Be very inquisitive. Ask your upline questions. They'll show you how to earn those reward dollars, how to cash them in and win those trips. But anyway, we're a little bit we're actually not even long on based on what Susan, Frank, and Cameron wanted. They wanted a 2-hour training, but I'm at my parents' house. My daughter's calling. I know y'all are on a Sunday afternoon. Ashley's at her dad's house. She has surgery in the morning. I cannot speak highly enough of all of you that gave up an hour and a half of your time on this call today. Really short notice for a lot of you. It shows your desire, and it shows your want to. Hopefully you got at least a nugget or two from it that will help you now go on to the next level. And we will do a intensive product training. I think Saturday morning. I got to check with Anthony first to make sure there's nothing already booked there. And everybody be blessed and go start building that global empire that we're all talking about.